Bring this in. What is up, y'all? It's episode 5 of the sports podcast for Your House, Our Rules. It was a bad day, to be a Bengals fan on Sunday. We took a little bit of an extra day to get our shit together. The people actually want to be on this podcast. Stolze had a death in his family, and Wallet just couldn't get the thing to work in time. We've been sitting here waiting for like the last hour to get that working, so we decided to just go on without him so we can get on. So it's just me and Jack today, but decided to take a little day to figure things out because of the Bengals game or whatever. But before we even do that, we're going to go ahead and talk about the 49ers and Eagles game that happened. There's a lot of people who might say that there wasn't much to talk about that game because it was so lopsided towards the Eagles, but I think that there is some stuff that we can talk about. For one, how does fucking San Francisco have to almost put McCaffrey in as a quarterback just to fucking field a quarterback because their fourth string got hurt during that game? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad luck, I think anyone would say. And I'm not a person who really believes in luck as the word is defined. But yeah, man, that's just a tough go. You got to feel for Shanahan as close as he's been so many times. But I do think at this point in the season, the Eagles were the better team, strictly because what we talked about, Hurts over Purdy.
Yeah, exactly. And, they got the job done. They scored a lot of points, but when you're looking at that game, their first touchdown was on, I think it was a fourth down, and they fucking threw a ball, and he dropped it, and they didn't review it. They didn't look back at it or anything like that. No one caught it, and they ended up scoring off that. And then, when you're watching the game later down the line, San Francisco had 2 possessions that were the 2 scores after that where they just kept the plays alive by fouling, holding penalties when they didn't need to, or pass interference and stuff like that. It was and they were all on third down. And it's you just watch them shoot themselves in the foot. To be honest, I don't think that San Francisco was really that bad in that game. The score didn't show it. I think their defense still played well. They just kept making those bonehead mistakes that fucking, kept them out of it. So, do you have any thoughts about that?
Really what's going to tie into our talk about the Bengals and the Chiefs, something that I've known before, but I'm relearning now as a avid football fan. If you're playing away, you can't give the refs a chance to call shit on you. You can't. You got to play cleaner. You got to play smarter. You got to play within yourself. You got to play disciplined football. And I think the Niners struggled with that same way the Bengals did.
Yeah.
They just the Eagles are a big bully team just like the Niners. So sometimes when you're getting pushed around, we've played sports, sometimes you're getting pushed around, you're like, I'm gonna grab this motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens, dude.
You gotta hold that composure, man. And you, like you said, the Eagles were just as good defensively. They were just as good. But I think another part of it is when you're going through it and you have a quarterback, your third string quarterback who's led you all this way goes out, and you have to put a fourth string in, and then he gets concussed or has to go through concussion protocol. So now you're talking about your running back going in for to play quarterback, which they ended up not doing. They put Purdy in and basically just fucking ran the rest of the game. But you've limited yourself so much on one side of the ball, it's why even fucking try? So, I mean, of course you try, especially in the NFC Championship game, but it just gets to a point where, they've faced so much adversity throughout the season, there's just only so much you can do. Yeah.
I agree. And it sucks for Purdy. I like the kid. It's going to be exciting seeing where he goes. I saw a lot of people hating, Mahomes played on one bad leg and Purdy wouldn't even come back in the game. That's why he's the MVP. It's but just so people know, he's been diagnosed and Purdy tore his UCL. So it's not like he was just bitching out.
What is that tendon in your elbow or something? Because he had an elbow.
Yeah, something in your elbow. So he's a quarterback. Yeah, and he could not throw.
Yeah, he looked
the same as the sprained ankle.
He looked completely fine, but I remember when it happened, he was on the sideline and he was telling Shanahan, he was just, you could see him shaking his head. He's like, I can't fucking go in. I'm not going to be able to throw. And when there were a lot of people thinking that he might come in for the second half or something like that, but it never ended up happening. And he did come in, but he didn't throw the ball. It's so you have to at that point understand that just something is completely fucking wrong. I think that the Eagles could have made it a lot worse than it really was. I think they still hung in there well, but that's just because the 49ers defense.
Yeah, they're incredible. And yeah, I mean, both games got pretty chippy, but that game, bro, didn't they clear the benches at the end of the game? Yeah, they did.
Did
at
they?
The end of Niners Eagles? Yeah.
Yeah.
They stopped it, but they cleared the benches. I mean,
Yeah.
it was getting bad out there.
Well, yeah, I stopped. It got to a point where like I stopped watching the game at one point.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, I was starting to fucking get ready for the Bengals, and it just didn't end up finishing the game all that well. Or I was like there, well, like half-heartedly watching it because at that point, like I had all the information that I needed to do this podcast, and we knew the game was over. San Francisco wasn't coming back in that game, so yeah. But they cleared the bench like fighting or whatever. Or they just had to get them off the field.
I can't remember what started it. Yeah, so it was like late in the fourth quarter, and I think it's Tufanga. I think is how you pronounce it. He's the guy. He's their safety who trains with Palomalu, and he got All Pro this year. He's a monster, but he smoked somebody, and I think it was him. It might have been different. Anyway, but yeah, so like then all the players get up kind of in a scuffle, and then the Eagles and Niners bench were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it's go time.
It got nuts, dude. But nothing came of it. Everyone kind of pushed away. It was fine.
Right.
I don't think anything egregious happened. I'm sure someone's going to catch some fines for that.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen.
Yeah,
which I've been off NFL.com.
And you know what? When you go into the environment like Philly too, like I was watching something about it was like for San Francisco fans who think that they're going to go see like a friendly football game or whatever. It was these Minnesota fans that were walking in there, and these guys are just fuck you, boo, like just hordes of boos and shit, like go home, fuck you. I was like, are you serious right now? Like, I understand you got some shitty ass fans, but like this is too much. Like, and so there obviously had been some fans. Tensions are high, and you got this fucking shitty ass fan base. You're in the championship game or the conference championship game, and losing by that much. Yeah, that all adds up. I'd get a little chippy too.
It's super toxic, and I don't condone that stuff, but it's effective.
Yeah.
Imagine you go there, you're like, I'm never coming back here to support my team.
Yeah.
Like, this was horrible. Dude, did you see the video of the group of kids going up to Joey Bosa and talking shit to him? And he kind of starts stepping towards him. I was like, dude, please don't hit these kids. Like,
dude, I lightweight want them to, because like fuck Philly fans, dude.
I'm saying, bro, it was bad. Yeah. Don't be such a dick.
Like,
I don't know. I'd be able to.
I get the shit talk. I get the mental game. Like, I love that you're animated about your team or whatever. But there's a certain level where you just gotta cut it off, man. Like when Bosa's about ready to fucking punch your ass, it might be time to calm the fuck down.
And he's such a big person.
Oh yeah, he's a big boy. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, that's it. That game turned out. I mean, we all picked the Eagles in the end. Yeah. I was going for the Niners until I saw Purdy play in the divisional round. So I'm proud that I got that one right.
Right. Yeah. Nah. And fucking, we did get that one right. I still think when it comes to like a whole body of work or whatever, like a team, I think that San Francisco was better. But like you said before, at this point in the season, I think that the Eagles were just a better team. And that was one of the reasons why I'm not picking them in the Super Bowl. But we can get to that on the later episode or whatever. But, Philly kind of walked to a fucking Super Bowl, in my opinion. So, but let's move on to the next game that we had, which was the Bengals at Kansas City, man. Our hometown boys going into Kansas City. We can talk a little bit about the shit talk, too. I think that had a little bit of effect on the game because, a lot of our I was talking to y'all throughout the week about how I thought that we were talking too much shit, and I realized that the Bengals players weren't necessarily talking that much shit about the game leading up. We had Hilton talking about Burrowhead, which was just caught on camera after the game, and we were talking shit to the Bills, but for the most part, the shit that was talking was coming from the fans. And I think that lit an extra fire under Kansas City's ass that made them play just a little bit harder. So, what were some of your takeaways from that game, man?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point there. I mean, especially the mayor chiming in, and it's just like, I get it. Be confident. And hey, man, I like to do some shit talking, but you are unnecessarily, like you said, giving more fuel to these players. Mm-hmm. I do think we were in the Chiefs' heads, but some of them clearly did not. Like Chris Jones did not care. He was like, I'm going to smoke you. Bro, this is what you get. And he destroyed us all game. He absolutely deserves.
Was he not the one who fucking was in that interview before the game and said, I'll see you at Burrowhead?
I'll see you at Burrowhead, yes.
That's when you know that a motherfucker ain't playing around with you. When he's willing to fucking say your shit, fucking your insult. Yeah, nah. So, yeah.
No, he's also like, I got so much respect for him as a player. He's Absolutely a
Oh,
top
yeah.
3 defensive player in the league, maybe number 1 in the league right now. I would easily put him over DJ Reader, and he's a beast. He might be the new Aaron Donald, honestly, for all I know. I mean, he's older too. He's just
Yeah.
like in those years where he's like really utilizing everything he knows. He's huge.
Yeah. Fucking
But
monster.
yeah, so like that's my first thought with it. You don't want to add like, and it was going back and forth. Willie Gay was talking shit during the week, like about how our offense, there's nothing impressive about it. It's like, bro, like stop us
Get
first,
out of here. Yeah.
Now they got to win, so they can like. What I do like is after all the chirping settled down and everyone, Kelsey's talking shit, Mahomes got some in there. I like the mutual respect between Burrow and Mahomes. That's good for the competitive nature of the league. Mahomes is great.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who says he's not is fooling themselves.
No.
Me personally, I'll still take Burrow over Mahomes. I would.
I too.
If we had Kansas City's offensive line, I think Burrow would pass for 6,000 yards in a season.
Yeah,
I really do.
I mean, I would agree with you too. I was watching Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp the other day, and they came into it. It was after the game, and they came into it, and he was like, we wanted to have this argument before the show started. We were talking about it. Sharp was backing Mahomes, and he was backing Burrow, and I was like, you know what? I was like, you can say whatever you want to, but like. Burrow, I'll give him this. He did that all on one leg, and you were right about his offensive line. That showed incredible guts. Like Mahomes is a fucking dog for that. Like no doubt whatsoever. But like you said, if you give Burrow that same offensive line that he did, and like put them in the same game, he still barely passed for less yards than Mahomes did that game. Granted, he's healthy, but it's one of those things where I think that if he had the assets that he did on that layer, then we would have done a lot better. If you're looking at that game, man, like the offensive line was why we lost that game. You can talk about the refs all you want to, but getting sacked 4 times in the first 2 possessions is just completely unacceptable. When you're talking about that, we're like an offensive oriented team, even though our defense probably played better down the line. When you just take away 2 possessions like that right off the fucking bat, like that can be demoralizing. We started calming it down and we got it together. And I think for at least the second half, maybe the last 3 quarters, that we played a better offensive ball than they did. We just couldn't get the ball downfield.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's well said. And I also agree. Our O-line, I think overall our team brought their B game. The O-line brought their D game. I think our receivers weren't getting the normal separation they were. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Spagnuolo, or however you pronounce his last name, I think it's their D coordinator. Mm-hmm. He did a good job. He was like, look, we're going to line up and we're going to rush 4. They're going to beat your O-line. I'm going to double team your best players. Mm-hmm. Figure it out.
Yeah.
And we did.
And
that's –
no,
go ahead.
No, I was talking about. I think our receivers. But you said B. I think that they were probably a B plus, maybe even A minus type thing. I think that our receivers were really played well because they caught some great balls. Higgins going up and high pointing that ball for that 1 touchdown was great. Fucking Chase had a couple great catches. Hurst had a couple great catches. But there were a couple of those ones. There were a couple of one of those ones. Joe Burrow, by the way, played a fucking A plus game, and I don't care a fuck what anybody says, bro. Fucking he was throwing absolute fucking dimes to people, and there were
getting destroyed the whole time, getting smoked.
Yes, and there were a couple of them. I remember 2 specifically was like Hurst at that throw up ball when we were like going down to spike it or whatever. Like that should have been caught. If you want to play an A plus game, that should have been caught. If you want to win the AFC Championship, that should have been caught. And Chase had another one that he ended up dropping. There was one that hit him in the helmet too. Like these are just balls that you need to catch if you want to win the AFC Championship game. And the only difference between us and Kansas City in this game is their players made those plays and our players did not. But that still doesn't take away from our players playing a phenomenal game, and I think most of them did. Most of them, yeah.
I agree with you, and at the same time, it's a team game. I'm not going to sit here and knock these O-linemen who struggled against really good defensive players. Mm-hmm. There's bad games that are going to be had. Our O-line, we know it's not, great. They had a really great game against Buffalo. We're not going to get back into that. But, it's going to happen. It sucks that it happened like this. It hurts as a Bengals fan. And, I don't want to get into all this stuff. Like, there's plenty of stuff we could talk about with some like the wishy calls with the refs. But like you said, like a lot of people are saying, like, you win if you capitalize. And we didn't. we had what, 3 chances in the last 6 minutes.
We could have put that game out of reach. We could have
Yeah,
if we wanted to. We just didn't get it
absolutely.
done. And when it comes down to it, like I said, which I think you're talking about, which was some of my Facebook posts, our offensive line did not allow us to have time for fucking Burrow to set and get the ball downfield. We could dish
Right.
off a little bit. We also didn't run well enough, in my opinion.
No,
We
not at
outran
all.
Kansas City, but like Romo made a point about running out of the shotgun. I was like, he's got a great point in that. Fucking sit back, run a little play action. If they're not coming hard enough, fucking pull the ball back and throw. If not, hand it off and let them dip through the tackles and shit. So
I agree.
yeah.
I will say this about our run game. I'm a huge. There's no hiding it. I'm a huge freaking Burrow fan. I think he's amazing. I think the way he handles himself is amazing. When he is like, "Fuck it, I'm running," he is sneaky fast.
Dude.
The head moves he puts on people to get extra yardage. And name another quarterback, especially his size, who will take punishment like that and get right the fuck back up every time, unless he tears his ACL.
None. None.
Straight up.
He
He just is unfazed, bro. I love it. It gets me so hyped, man.
Do you remember the one play where it was like, I think it was 3rd and 6, maybe 4th. I think it was 3rd though. And like he's sitting there and all of a sudden he snaps the ball out of shotgun and just takes off right up the middle and gets like 13 fucking yards. I was looking at that. I was like, that, I don't know if he caught an audible or did that himself or whatever, but I was like, that play call was fucking phenomenal.
I think he just pre-snap reads so well.
Yeah.
He knows what's coming. Not all the time, but like when he's confident of what the defense is giving him, he's like, okay, they're going to give me space right down the middle. The ends were doing the same thing every time. The ends were rushing upfield to contain and get a sack on the outside. So they're creating this pocket in the center. So as long as there's not push up the middle, he's got a gap. So he's just good at shooting it.
And that's why I thought we should have ran our shotgun too. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He saved a lot of drives like that, man.
Yeah.
What it came down to, honestly, and it sucks to say it, it was Big Dick Burrow versus Big Dick Mahomes, and Mahomes won. We could talk about the holding or the block in the backs and all these things. Mahomes did some great things to win that game, and he deserves a shot at another ring.
Exactly, and I'll give him his props for this too. Like a lot of his receivers went out fucking for like half that game. He was doing it with like his fucking 4th through 6th receiver,
fourth and 5th, I think, or 5th and 6th.
Yeah,
and Kelsey wasn't healthy, so like, yeah, man, they absolutely. And also like I take a little solace, which I'm being kind of a simp for this. I still fuck with Kelsey. I mean, he's a Cincinnati boy too. He's a Bearcat. So even though he was dogging us pretty hard, I mean, you can't be mad about it. You can't be mad about it when everyone's talking shit.
I respect that more than the way that a lot of our guys handled it, talking shit before the game.
Yeah.
Like you were talking before about confidence. It's great to have confidence. I understand the head game. I understand talking that shit. Because if you start yapping at me, I'll yap back, and I'm gonna yap better than you are. But the thing about it is having that confidence to fucking go on the field, win, and then come out and talk that shit. Fucking Kelsey did the best of it when he fucking talked to fucking Aftab or the Cincinnati mayor after the game, like shouted that shit to Mike. Shut the fuck up and know your place, you jabroni. I was like, amen. I was like, amen.
Right.
Man,
I agree.
So I mean, the whole game, it was a close battle. It was a great game, and fucking, I give all of the Chiefs their props. I'm pulling for them in the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna hold a fucking grudge. I think they're a great team. Mahomes has had an MVP year. I think really when it comes down to it, we were not out of that game until Osai makes a fucking terrible play, and fucking it was a terrible play, but Osai was probably our best defensive player that game.
He had an amazing game.
He had an amazing game.
He's just like, I don't know. It sucks that it ended that way, but from a defensive player's perspective, you're chasing one of the most freakish athletes at QB, trying to make a play to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't notice where you're at on the line. Should he have? Of course, but man, that's a lot going on. I can't blame him for that.
No,
I'm glad that Pratt apologized to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, also something that I was doing like some journaling about the game and just how I felt about it. I was worried. I think me and you talked about it. Like my biggest worry leading into the week was how are we going to handle finally being the favorites? How are we going to handle the pressure well? Are we mature enough for this? Is Burrow? Sure.
Yeah.
But Zach Taylor is not a disciplinarian. I don't think he controls some of the wilder personalities really well. Not like Belichick does in the Patriots, for example.
Right.
And I think that's just what got out of control.
Yeah.
People were just getting a little too swaggy, which is fine. Sometimes you come out and you shut people down, like in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But other games you come out and they smack us in the mouth, like you said, the first 2 drives, and then everyone's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And then that's where maturity comes in. I think we'll grow from this. I really do believe that we've got good leadership
for sure.
They'll level up, but it always sucks as a fan. It sucks as a Bengals fan, especially. But we're moving forward. I'm gonna take a
I've been through it. I've been through it so much, dude. Fucking all these Bengals fans. Like, what do you want to do to us, bro? We've had one of the worst franchises in the past 60 years. We're finally good. We know that the team's young. So more of the rational fans like us, some of the older ones, are like, you know what? This team isn't like the Bengals that we've seen before. We'll be back. That's what I said because, fucking, I had so many people just wiling the fuck out on Facebook and shit afterwards. I was like, guys, GG's to the fucking Kansas City Chiefs. We had a hell of a game. We had a hell of a year, and you can guarantee we will be back next year.
Yeah. And I've heard difference of opinions on this, obviously from where you stand, but I would call anybody out to go position to position and try to convince me that the Chiefs have a better roster than us.
I don't believe that, and I think
they don't.
I think that if we proved one thing as the Cincinnati Bengals in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, it was that we were the best, most talented team in fucking NFL football. We might not have the experience of the Chiefs. We might not fucking have played a better regular season to get fucking home field advantage and stuff like that, but we kept it close. I liked our chances in overtime. Mahomes was not moving the ball, and when he ran, he came up limping harder than I've seen him all the time. If we didn't foul him, he's not kicking 60 yards in that weather, and then we go into overtime, and I thought we were the better team in the fourth quarter, to be honest with you. We can talk a little bit about the refereeing and stuff like that. Like you said before, I know you kind of moved it to the side, and I've been trying to do that, in preparation for this, to not talk about like the refereeing and stuff like that, because I just don't think that it's a justifiable way to say we lost a game. We lost the game. We really did, but the NFL does need to review that game. There were some very questionable things that happened during that game, and there's a lot of people up in arms about it. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to comment on that a little bit further, that's more. The hit on the hit that Osai had, I think that just about any rational person agrees that was a penalty and it should have moved them
all day.
Yeah,
all day. Yeah, I have no argument there, and I guess how I feel about it is, and it's beyond this game. The Niners Eagles is getting the same attention. Like I've been seeing that in the forums too, like how bad it was towards the Eagles. So like this is becoming more of a theme. And the longer the NFL or whoever doesn't address it, and it's like, this is a very rich organization. Address it. Figure something out to where people can be more accountable. Because the first thing I did that night after the game is, after getting off social media, because I was going to have a fucking corner.
I remember you texted the group chat and you were like, you know what? I'm just going to not say anything about the referees and fucking I'm going to get off, and fucking 30 seconds later, I saw you on social media. Like, okay, Jack.
Bro. I was like a fiend, bro. Anyway, but what I did after I did get off, I was like, I did a little woosah, I did a little meditation, and then I rewatched the second half. I rewatched it from start to finish, pause, looking at everything they missed. Like, they missed some holds on Chris Jones too, but the thing is they called him for him. I think we went into the second half and we were tied at 4-4 penalties. I'm pretty sure, I could be remember, I got notes somewhere. I don't think they got a penalty called to them at all in the second half. As a matter, and we know about what happened with that crazy ref on the field play blowing the whistle dead, which is a rule. Down. That's a rule. I get it, but they let the play out.
Yeah.
And my question is, had Mahomes thrown a 50-yard touchdown bomb, would they have made him play that over? Or would it have stood? That's where I'm kind of at with it. And I don't know. And maybe they did. Maybe they would. I don't know. We can't know. But then
looking at that play was suspicious, and that's the one that really needs to go into the investigation, because they brought their fucking punting team out on the fucking field and then reversed the call and let them bring it back in and then let them run a play. And then after they ran a play, they fucking decided to call it dead and fucking have them run it again. It's like,
it was nuts, man.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And then once we punted, right before we punted, the same drive where Joe Burrow got the intentional grounding, which, by the way, P. Ryan was 5 yards from the ball, if that. Shouldn't have been intentional grounding. They were both doing it all game, him and Mahomes. It was a bullshit call. The play before that, I can't remember, Frank Clark. Yeah, Frank Clark, next to Chris Jones. Frank Clark runs in, Burrow throws a ball, plants, and is just chilling there, and he comes in and shoves him to the ground.
Intentional grounding
call at all. No. It should
roughing
the passer.
My bad.
Should have been a first down, 15 yards, but they just ignored it. And then we punt it. Cool. And when we punt it, the first thing that I saw on the punt, and I called it live, I was like, he just shoved him down from behind, and you can watch it. I've got a Twitter feed of it. A Bengal is getting blocked into Sky Moore, right to where he's running. Easy play. Easy tackle, or at least adjust him so he doesn't have a free lane. Another Chief is coming from an angle, and he like realizes he slows up, but he gets to him and just shoves him down. And the Bengal falls down, completely hitting him from behind. Ignore block in the back.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we're going to live with that. And then literally 3 plays later on the 15-second mark, and he does that rollout. And I got a screenshot that I fucking shared
of
multiple times.
Hendrickson just getting fucking absolutely railed. Yeah.
Chokehold. And 65 in the center is doing the same thing to BJ Hill. Same fucking thing. Yeah. And like, it's not like there's like a bunch of people around so you can't see it. They have line judges and refs in the backfield to legitimately watch just for that.
Yes.
No flag. And that's my beef, man. Like it happens. I get it. That's anybody who's on the other side is like, this is what happens. I'm like, okay, but it shouldn't. That's my point.
Yeah.
I understand we don't live in a utopia. It's never going to be perfect. But if we're not striving for fairness and integrity of the game, this is the AFC Championship. It shouldn't have been decided by a one-sided penalty call in a one-sided quarter. And that's where I land. And like, bro, I spent almost 2 hours just taking screenshots on social media of Broncos fans, Browns fans, Ravens fans. Everyone's like, y'all got fucked. I'm getting Titans fans texting me that I don't even talk to, that I went to high school with. Like my buddy Chaz Babs. He's like, bro, it seems like the Chiefs might have paid a little. And I'm like laughing because we don't even talk. Like anybody with eyeballs saw that there was something wrong. Yeah. Even if it wasn't egregious, even if it wasn't malicious, even if it was just negligent.
Now
that happens.
Now here, this is what I have to say about this situation. Did all those things happen? Did it look very bad for the referees? Did it look bad for the Chiefs and the NFL and stuff like that? Yes, I agree with everything that you just said. The only thing that I have to say about that, first half of the game, right? We were only down 7 points, which was better than fucking honestly I had assumed because I knew that we were going to have to weather the storm. But up until the second half of that game, fucking there was really no need to fucking make any outlandish calls. Going into the second half, though, we start catching back up. You know, they go down and we hold them. We go down, score. They go down, they score, and then we score again. Now it's a tie ball game. Getting down to the nitty-gritty of that game, man, fucking all of a sudden it's like, you know what? The Chiefs aren't playing better than the Bengals right now. So that's when they decide to make the calls. Now, it sucks that it happened like that. It's going to fucking come out in backlash. But any Bengals fan that went into that fucking game in that scenario with all the shit that had been talked between the two teams, calling it Burrowhead, beating us 3 times and stuff like that, if you did not know that we were going to get homered, then you are fucking retarded. It's just that simple. We knew that the calls weren't going to go our way that game. The point of the matter is, you are a professional athlete. You know that this is coming. You need to fucking set yourself apart from the other team in order to win that game. And we did not do that, so we lost.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, and when it comes down to it, it's really that simple. You got to play better. Got to play smarter. And honestly, going back to the start of the season, we lost to the fucking Steelers, the Cowboys with Cooper Rush, the Ravens, who we are head and shoulders a better team than, and then the Browns, who didn't even have Deshaun Watson yet. Yeah. Those are our 4 losses. If we win those games, which we absolutely should, no discussion about it, we go 16-0, and we don't got to worry about shit. Yeah. Except for people coming to the jungle. So that's what we got to do next year and give no excuses.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That's where I'm at with it, bro. Fucking play to win. Fucking set yourself into the point where you don't have to be put in these situations. And you know, if you're out there and you're a young Cincinnati Bengals fan, you know, I have a little bit of issues with people hopping on the bandwagon. But if you're a young kid that fucking maybe was born around the fucking Marvin Lewis era or whatever, and haven't really seen the fucking just absolute shit that the fucking Cincinnati Bengals are, take me and Jack's word for it that fucking you guys have it real easy, because it is still shocking. Me and fucking damn near all my friends have said these past couple weeks, if you told me that in Burrow's second and third year that we would have fucking 6 playoff games and win fucking 5 of them, you're insane. There's no way.
Right.
But we're here. We'll be back for sure. Yeah. We got business to settle next year.
We're healthy. We're healthy as fuck going into the offseason outside of Lyle Collins, and he's old anyway and had a terrible year. No knock on him. You know, he played through back injuries. But we're healthy. Our O-line is improved when healthy. We've got all of our draft picks, as far as I know. We're primed to make moves. And also, for the first time in my entire tenure as a Bengals fan, people want to play for us.
Yeah.
Free agents want to come here.
Oh, yeah.
People want to play with Burrow.
Yeah.
They want to. fucking everyone, I'm sure there's plenty of people that hate him because of how much people love him. That's the nature of being a human. But people just love the kid. He's starting to get noticed and he handles it really well. I mean, to be 25, 26, something like that.
He's a little bit older because he went through his.
Somewhere around
Well,
there.
no, I'm not sure, but he went through all 4 years. I think all 5
Yeah.
years of high school. So maybe he's actually, I think, my age, like 26, 27.
Yeah, I think 26 is it because Mahomes is 27. But speaking of that, man, the AFC, I mean NFL, and I hate it because I'm frustrated with them. But the NFL's in a great place. The last 2 seasons, outside of just being a Bengals fan, just being a fan of football, were the most fun I've ever had watching the league.
Mm-hmm.
And the AFC is about to be crazy next season. I mean, bro, Brady, it's looking more and more like Brady might go to the Titans. I don't think Rodgers will come to the AFC.
Man, that was the first team that I said, fucking the Titans, and everyone was like, no, he was not going to go to the Titans. I was like, man.
My worry, the thing that's really concerned, because Vrabel, they have a connection, but like the Titans O-line is so bad, and I know Brady's not going to want to go anywhere where he's going to get drilled all the time. He clearly can't take hits the way he used to. Not that he's ever been one to take big hits, but he can't take hits the way he used to. So that's my one thing with that. Unless they got a plan to get like a solid left tackle, I'm not sure if that'll go down. But yeah, it'll be interesting, man. I said,
a lot of stuff.
I plan on. Yeah, I'm like I've told you, my buddy James Ham, who we were talking to a lot this week. He and I'm gonna speak for myself, not for him. I have an NFL addiction. I read every article all year long. I'm up on the draft shit. I'm gonna take a little break from it, give myself a breather because it got me all hot and bothered. And see how I feel about things. I hope that something does happen. I hope that there's just some, even if they did an investigation and they're like, hey, there's nothing nefarious to be found, we feel good about it. That would make me feel good because at least they'd acknowledge it. What really bothers me is there's zero acknowledgement from the powers of any of it.
Here's the thing about it, Jack. The thing that you need to understand about like the refereeing and stuff like that is Ohio on January 1st of this year, within the past month, just now made fucking sports betting actually legal. I know plenty of people that have been betting since then, but after that, every single person I know that likes sports is gambling on fucking games right now. Even like people like Stolze. Stolze's a huge sports fan. He didn't start gambling that I know of until after fucking January 1st. I know a lot of people who have for years before, but fucking like now that we're seeing that, fucking betting is so much more accessible to fucking people, and like it's gonna cause things to go certain types of way. Because like we said in the this week on the last episode of fucking the sports podcast that we had, we said that, we don't think that it's rigged because there's too many moving pieces, but the NFL definitely has a fucking preference of who they want to win the game. And they definitely, not even that, they have a preference of keeping the game close because they're going to lose a lot of money if fucking the Bengals are just blowing out people every fucking week. So, I mean, it is what it is. We can get into... Go ahead. No, I was getting ready to wrap up the episode. If you got something else you want to do, because we're at 30 minutes.
Before you do, I was just going to agree with you. I never once could ever believe that it's rigged simply because of the players who have committed their lives to being champions. Mm-hmm. There's no way that there's a whole team. You might have a player here and there, like people who do point shaving and stuff. But no, I never believe that. I don't even necessarily believe it's like scripted, although I've got my questions. I do believe, like you said, there's a preference here or there to push it a certain way, and sometimes things happen. With that being said, before you wrap it up, we had that one, God, was it Jamar Chase's touchdown that if they would have paid attention, or Tyler Boyd?
No, it was Hurst. Hurst throw-up ball, fucking he went up and fucking it got dropped and we had to settle for a field goal. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was one that they called it a catch in the first quarter, but it actually wasn't on replay and we rushed up. So stuff like that goes your way. I'm aware of those things.
Wait, are you talking about the Bills game?
No, not that one. Not the one in the snow. That was a crazy one too, even though it's technically a non-catch.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was, man. It's not a big deal anyway. Yeah. My point is, I know it goes both ways. Once again, it's just hard in the fourth quarter to stomach it.
Right.
To stomach it with the refs playing such a huge part. Like I said, it gave me flashbacks of 2015 Pittsburgh. Did Burfict take Antonio Brown's head off? He did. That's a penalty, even if Burfict wasn't trying to go low on him because AB was going down. But what got me is Joey Porter, the assistant's coach, is on the field talking shit to Bengals players, and there was no flag.
Man,
So we gifted them 15 yards for a field goal.
I'm not fucking getting into 2015 Bengals right now.
I
bro,
feel you.
I
get it.
That's too much heartache, and fucking we will talk all fucking night if we get started.
No, I'm traumatized.
Yeah. So
I might as well go to therapy.
I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, baby. This has been episode 5 of the Sports Podcast. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share anything you see. I'm always posting this shit on social media. I've been hitting it hard. So show me some support, goddammit. This has been episode 5 of the Sports Podcast. What?
I said, even if you hate us, talk shit to us.
Even if you hate
Give us a comment. Tell us how much we suck, dude.
Bro, so last week, the fucking, the TikTok that I put out fucking about us against the Chiefs, like the one coming up, where I was like, I think that we have too many weapons, blah, blah, blah. So, like, fucking, it blew up more than any other TikTok, because I just started TikTok. Like, all my other ones have, like, a couple hundred. I think it's sitting at around 10K views right now, and fucking, like, all kinds of, like, hundreds of likes and stuff like that, compared to, like, just a couple fucking on the other ones. And, you know, it was all fucking... like a couple people saying "Who Dey," but it was a bunch of them were Chiefs fans just talking shit and fucking like I was responding to them. The second the game was over, my phone started dinging, bro. People came back to the shit to talk shit to me, bro. So hey, and you know what?
You better get used to that, bud.
I don't give a shit. Fucking go ahead and hate on me, bro. I can handle it. The thing about it is you're making my little view ticker tick up. So thank you, haters.
Get that engagement.
Hey, it's been the 5th episode of the Sports Podcast. We love y'all. Peace.